Let me tell you a story. I am between 19 to 20 years old and I'm living in the capital, the city where I'm studying in. The first semester is done, but I couldn't do it. I had dropped out of college and at the current moment at the time, I had nothing to do, really. I got nothing to do. I remember it was about to 11 a.m. awoken by the tram that was going outside of the apartment. I had no alarm set, right? But my alarm clock per se was the screeching of the tram. Beside me there was this chair that I'm currently sitting in. And on top of the seat, which was my, supposed table, I had my, I believe, fourth box of chocolates. I have harvested many boxes of chocolates. Always when I woke up, I would just down the entire box of chocolate, right? So it was around 500 grams. I don't really know how much that is in pounds, but at very least I just downed the entire box. I would just wander around in my apartment, never doing anything and just wondering what the hell I'm going to do with my life. I also had work as a cashier. It was not fun at all. Just working as a cashier just sucks. I'm pretty sure you can guess that already. Aside from these two small things that I didn't really do anything in the capital, I will always feel this kind of hopelessness and anxiousness that just arose whenever I was, awake per se. But I remember very clearly that despite me hitting that part-time job, it offered me a sort of reality escape, could you per se. It would also make me step aside from the reality that was quite shit, to be frankly. So the very depressing feeling of not having anything to do arose when I was on my free time, actually, because I didn't spend it on anything productive. So of course you don't really feel very proud of yourself when you're not doing anything productive. Of course, in the convenience store, I was not really present at all, right? But it kind of distracted me from these other worries that I had. The lesson of the story is that despite not having anything to do productive in your life, if you do some kind of work, something that you're gonna occupy your thoughts, I'm a sole believer that if you do work, then things will absolutely solve themselves, even though it doesn't seem like it, right? The best times that I had was when I was working, because it gave me this sort of escape, not really thinking about depressing things, right? There's this subreddit. It's called like r/anti-work, if you just type it in the search bar. And this is just a whole group dedicated to basically shit talk on working as a whole, working 9 to 5, this power trip of overcoming your boss and everything, right? It's just this huge circle jerk. They have it all wrong, right? Because there are people who are much likely stuck in this situation like I was, but they just refuse the idea that you can enjoy work. They don't especially work with things that they enjoy. I didn't enjoy cashier work, but seeing colleagues helping people and everything, it was good for me. If you're feeling very hopeless right now, the feeling it stems from is not necessarily by you avoiding the work or necessarily just doing work, but you need to do the work that you feel is productive and is going to help you proceed to the goals. Figure out what in life you want to do. You need to be very honest with yourself if at least you're watching this kind of video. I will believe that most of the goals that you have, most ambitions that you have and everything, it comes from other people, right? You see it on social media, you see it from the teachers, from parents, right? They condition you to do this type of activities and things that you believe are good and believe are productive. You don't necessarily want it yourself, right? You was never born to follow a academic life, right? Kind of silly example, but it's just to set an example. If you want a goal that will benefit your life, this requires solitude, much like I had in this apartment. I was just really into media consumption. I was just downing an entire box of chocolate daily, and I was sleeping all right. There were moments where I was just staring at my wall, not occupied with anything. I would just look at my apartment, not really doing anything, just peeking out of the window. Just moments of pure silence when I'm all about my thoughts. Of course, my head was chaotic at the time, but I would always question my own actions. I became very self-conscious, so I was really alone by my thoughts. I can remember that I did a exercise similar to this, right? So what I need you to do is to take a clean sheet of paper, like this. This is an action step and I can follow you through this. I want you to write down There are things that you really want to do, or things that you really enjoy, and you believe that doing these activities benefit your life, right? So you just follow this example. I'm going to write down in real time, right? Just write down as many examples as you can think of. And for the sake of this video, I'm writing down 4 things, right? It says that I want to become a pro volleyball player, right? I really enjoy volleyball. I wrote down self-improvement YouTuber, which is something I'm currently doing right now. I want you to circle around one thing that if you could achieve this in 1 year, which goal or which thought or which wish or whatever would benefit you the most. And by benefit, I don't mean necessarily the rewards that you could potentially get, right? If you want to be a celebrity, like you want to be rich. I just want to think of if money was not a concept and resources was not a concept, right? You don't do this for girls, you don't do this for money, you don't do it for the resources. You want it purely for the entertainment of the activity. Which one would you do? I circled around self-improvement YouTuber, right? So I want to be helpful and beneficial for someone, and I potentially want to make a business out of it. As soon as you circle that one thing on your piece of paper, I want you to take all the other lines, cross them out. Cross them out aggressively. Do not think of any of these other goals. Only focus on the one thing that you circled around. And something that you may have noticed is that the one thing that you have circled around is not about academics, it is not about school, and most certainly it's not about something that your parents wished that you want to do. Maybe you just write something silly, right? You want to become a rapper. You think it's really cool to freestyle. You do it all the time. You just really enjoy rapping, right? As I said, it's most likely something that's not conditioned by your parents. For those of you who are aspiring something at law school, right? Maybe doctors. Something that you most certainly need a degree for if you're just pursuing that kind of way, right? Working a 9 to 5. I just want to ask you that. I want you to question your own thoughts, like why exactly do you want this one goal? The point of this exercise is to write down the things that you want, right? Not something that you have been conditioned by. If you were to ask me between 19 and 20 years old, what exactly did I want to do with my life? I could either give you one of 2 responses. One, give you the economics, but of course I never finished it. Or the second answer, which was, I don't know. If you're not following your own thoughts, or if you're just doing chores just to please others, of course you're going to feel hopeless, of course, because you don't really listen to yourself. You don't really aspire to do anything. I want you to highlight that most things are from peer pressure. You want to do things because people tell you to, not necessarily because you want to. And I can feel you. That's how I lived most of my life, being this kind of bubble that you need to have speed, you need to do things, right? You need to study. And I don't think I'm the only one who thinks that. You may want to do this exercise several times. Maybe you just need more time to do it, or maybe you finish this video and you want to do it in more detail. Just like me in the apartment several years ago. Have a wall that you just stare at, just look at the flower that you have inside your apartment or whatever. Just look out the window in complete silence. Don't talk to anyone, don't listen to anyone, and do not consume any media. Just be alone with your thoughts and write down between something like 5 to 10 lines. Circle around the one thing that you feel is the most important and focus all your attention on that one. As soon as you work on the goal that you have set to, you focus on only achieving that goal. You will eventually see that things will fall in place. Work hard and move on.